Yeah, ready to die, but I can't, I'm too alive. Welcome to another episode of Sellouts, the podcast for MGK fans, by MGK fans, presented by Pink Fox. I'm your host, Mike Kyle, and today we have another awesome guest. So awesome that when she sent me over some bullet points, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great episode. She is a music photographer in LA. Welcome, Abbey. How you doing today?
Pretty good. Came home from work, got ready, ate, self-care.
And now here you're here. Now you're here.
Yeah, now I'm here. I'm all
Her
good.
her Instagram is Blackstar4life. It'll be in the description. Go ahead and give her a follow. And her feed right now is pretty much straight MGK, which we love to see. So first question for you here, Abbey, is how long have you been a fan of MGK for?
Ooh. Well, the first time I saw him live was like 2016 or 17. So like about there.
And do you remember like what like the show was? So if it was 2016, 17, if it was 17, it could have been after Bloom. If it was 16, it was right before it. So that you're looking at second or third album.
Yeah. Actually, it was at Emo Night Day. It was a thing Emo Night used to do that they haven't done in like a few years. And he did a surprise set. It was like
that's
song,
cool.
something like that.
Who were you there to originally see?
Oh, I was just there because the lineup was good. Like Vic Fuentes from Pierce the Veil was going to DJ, some other special guests. Just the lineup was just good, and it was the only time you could like experience Emo Night if you were like under 21.
And was this in LA?
Yeah, it was at the Shrine Auditorium and Expo Hall.
Gotcha. Are you born and raised from LA?
Yeah,
we got a unicorn.
Yeah, I've never moved.
All right, awesome. So when it comes to like the music photography side of things, we kind of teased it a little bit. How did you get into that? You are actually the second music photographer that we've had on. Our last guest is actually an aspiring music photographer in LA, actually, which is cool.
I don't know. It kind of just happened. Like, that sounds like really cliche, but it's like, I don't know, did a few shows, like went to my first show and like did a few shows after that. And I just, you see them when you're at shows, and I was like, I got curious, and it just kind of happened. Like by and being curious, and then me actually really like loving it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Circling back to Emo Night for a second.
Yeah.
So MGK comes on as a surprise guest.
Yeah.
Wasn't originally on the lineup card, just kind of pops in, does 6 songs. What was your initial takeaway? So if that's like your first real introduction into MGK, like your first introduction was an MGK concert, which candidly, I don't think there's a better way to come into the fandom.
It was like really good. Like I was like front row for it, and like the stage presence, like that's one thing that's like never changed, is how he like owns a room. And like, he like, it was all like his older stuff from like Bloom, honestly. So like hear some songs that he doesn't play anymore, and that just all of it, I was like, it was like, holy cow, like this is a performance, like this is amazing.
And how does an MGK concert, like specifically maybe that one, one of the things that you were saying when we were just kind of talking on through DM was that, you've been going to concerts since you were, 12 or 13, and it didn't stop till COVID, and now you're kind of ramping back up. So how does an MGK concert compare to all the other artists that you've seen? Is it just the stage presence? Is there a little bit more? What are some of like the differentiating factors that really like stick out to you?
I mean, differentiating factors, I would say, is like, my bad.
You're good.
It, different artists do everything differently. Like, of course they do, but with him, it's like so natural, and I don't know, maybe it's just like a me thing that's kind of crazy, but it's like, if you've been around a while and you're constantly showing up, he finds ways to kind of recognize that while he's performing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the smallest thing, but it's like the attention to detail and stuff.
Yeah, and recognize like in what way? Like, do you have an example of that really like sticks out?
Like the intense eye contact to a song, like directly singing to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like in between songs, like acknowledge the slight acknowledgement. Like it's always like it's the little things, because you know it's like he's playing arenas and stuff now,
Mm-hmm.
so it's the little things, but just the little things you like pay attention to or that you pick up on.
I actually just had a moment like that in Fort Lauderdale. I was with Jason Barker, and it was during 9 Lives. Kells came to our side of the stage. We were second row, and like he just kind of like gave us like a look and a point, very very subtly, and that was it. And I was like, that was so sick. So yeah, that's something that I wasn't like fully expecting, and then it happened. And Jason's, met him and kind of been around him a few times as well. And so to actually see that firsthand, it's like, oh, that's fucking badass.
Yeah, and that's like what I mean. It's like no one else will like pick up on it or really like click, but like if you know type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really cool moment to be part of. Okay, so that's where your love for MGK really starts.
Yeah.
And since then, Abbey, you've had a run of events that may be unparalleled to anybody that I've spoken to that doesn't, work for him or have some other like professional or more friendly relationship with Kells. So if
Yeah.
you don't mind, we're going to kind of run through these one by one. You gave me a lot to work with, but I think that we're just going to kind of work our way down the list. We may not cover all of them, which is totally cool, but we're going to hit on a few of these, okay?
For sure, yeah.
Cool. So let's start off with the I Think I'm Okay music video. So you were an extra in that, and that video specifically, if you don't know, he basically just kind of said, hey, pull up to this place. We're going to shoot a music video with Youngblood. And that is literally, and Travis Barker, no disrespect to the king. And that's really how it started. That's how like the original presentation for the music video was. So from your end, how did it happen for you?
That's interesting because I found out before he even posted about it. He had just done something, like he was out somewhere in LA, and I was like going through his tagged photos because I was like, oh, dang, like I didn't know I would have gone. And I was just like going through his tagged photos, like just browsing, and some fan page posted this flyer about it, like with the email and everything, that I think he ended up posting the flyer later on in his story to like shoot an email, because this was like before he posted like for everyone to just pull up. And I ended up emailing and getting in, like, and then he finally posted that on his story, like, oh, like the flyer with the email to be an extra. And I was like the first one to show up because I was paranoid about being late. I was like, oh my. And that's like kind of where it started, was like I found out through a fan page. I don't even know what fan page, but like they got a hold of it before it was even officially announced.
Damn, that's awesome. So you're an extra in the I Think I'm Okay music video. Are you like in it? Like, are you like featured within it? I probably should have gone back through and rewatched it before I had you on.
Am for like 2 seconds, like a
And,
good 2 minutes.
and how did like when you saw that for the first time, like how did that make you feel?
I was surprised because the part that they used for me, there was this like in between takes thing where they pulled some of us aside to do like a quick like 5 second video and take some photos. And so they used like that 5 second video footage, which I honestly wasn't expecting anything out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I was actually like, oh, I had to watch it like twice to kind of like really like wait a minute and do like a double take.
Yeah, that's so cool. You had like a really cool experience with all of them on set. It sounded like to me you had a brief interaction with Kells, and that was maybe like the first one. But then you also met Youngblood and Femme, and so just kind of like walk me through this whole thing, because there's a lot to unpack for this one in particular.
So I don't know. We had been filming, you know, Kells is like really on hands when it comes to his own stuff, directing people, super polite, super polite. Like he was like back and forth, like rushing around, checking like the cameras, how the footage is coming out. Really polite when he had to move past, like super like on hands. And then there's the part where they do the actual concert. Before that, there was a lunch break. And, you know, so we're all standing around where we were placed like beforehand. And so they call lunch for, and I see like Dom walking down the stairs. And like, I'm like looking around and no one's like paying any mind to this like dude walking down the stairs. And I'm just like, because like I had already known who he was from his 21st Century Liability album and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, Dom, can I get a hug? And he was like so welcome. He's like, yeah, of course you can. And he like pulled me into the nicest hug. Everyone was like so confused, like, who's this dude? And then like he goes gets lunch. And then I didn't actually talk to Femme that day, but I
Mm-hmm.
saw her because they were filming while Dom went to get lunch. They were filming like this quick like 2 second scene, like Kells and her. And I saw her and I was like, wait a minute, like I know who that is. I did briefly get to tell her like, oh, like I like your stuff, and she was like very timid and like, oh, thank you, which
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy because the relationship I have with her now is like insane.
Flex on them.
Like she's like, oh, I will say I'm very well acquainted with her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've pulled up to all her LA shows, and she is. It's almost like we've known each other for years, which I guess like in a way we kind of have, because she's still small and she's still like, it's definitely like she's still very like timid, but like in the most like she's so sweet,
Mm-hmm.
sweet person. Like anyone who says otherwise, they're weird.
I'm actually subscribed to Fem's text platform,
Same.
so
It's so,
so that's cool.
and then Travis, because I also got to talk with him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was all after the shoot. Um, I Blink-182 was the first band I got to get like a professional photo pass for and everything.
Okay.
And I like I like word vomited and briefly mentioned that to him, and he like stopped and he's like, "Wait, like tell me all about it, like from A to B." So I told him like the whole thing I went through, and he was just like, "Oh my god, like that's so sick, like that's the shit you gotta do, like I'm so like happy for you." And he like hugged me and everything, and the fact that he stood there and like focused and paid attention and listened was like, it shows like he has so much respect for other people. It doesn't matter like who you are. And that was insane that he took interest.
So Travis actually just came out to literally today as we're recording this, a new collection with Clocks and Colors, which is kind of like an accessory company.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you thought this literally just happened today, so maybe you've seen it, maybe you didn't. But Peter McKinnon, if you know who that is, he's big in the photography space on YouTube. I'm sure you may be aware of who he is or who he is not.
Yeah.
He was part of like the shoot, and he just dropped the video, like the behind the scenes video of the Travis shoot. And I literally said to my girlfriend 3 hours ago, I said, I literally think Travis Barker is the coolest person on the planet. So just you saying like all these good things is just reinforcing that take, and I'm so stoked about it.
Yeah. Also the backtrack, which is something I don't know why I forgot. During the crowd shot at the I Think I'm Okay video, Dom broke his guitar.
Like broke it, like smashed it, or broke it like strummed too hard and all the strings popped? Like broke it how?
And it broke in half, and me and who is now like one of my closest friends that I consider like family, uh, that I had been talking to throughout the day at the time, I was like, okay, I'll keep the body, you get the neck of it, because he broke it like straight in half.
Mm-hmm.
Then he took it back. He's like, I wasn't supposed to do that, and they had to like tape it up, so you can't see it in the video, but they taped it with like black tape and everything,
Mm-hmm.
like because he wasn't supposed to break it. But then when they gave him the okay that they were completely done shooting, he like smashed, like completely shattered his guitar. And I have like the neck of the guitar from the I Think I'm Okay video that ended up getting signed by him, Kells, and Rook.
That goes so hard. Are you serious?
I'm being like dead serious.
Do you have it? Can you grab that for us right now?
Yeah, I'll
Or
take
is it
it.
like, or is it like hanging up in like a glass case? Because
It's
that'd be equally as cool.
not, because it's really expensive and hard to find a case that will fit it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just go grab it real quick.
Go grab it. Let's see it.
Okay, give me like 2 seconds.
Yep.
So this is it. You could see like the black tape
Uh-huh.
where I taped it up. And then this is Dom's signature.
Yeah.
Rook. Wait.
We got Rook on the side there. Yep.
And then Kells is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Damn.
I just thought I was going to get like Dom's, because he was just signing the pieces he broke and being like all the fans. And so as he was signing it, he just like handed it to Kells, and I was like, oh, okay. I'll take it. Yeah, sure.
Who am I to say no?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, not expecting that, but that's amazing.
And then did Kells just pass it to Rook? Or how did you get it signed by Rook then?
Rook, it was after Rook was just chilling. No one was talking to him, like not ignoring him, which, you know, that's not the first time something like that's happened.
Right.
So like I just went up to him and I was like, dude, I like have this. Can you like sign it? And he was like, oh my God, like hell yeah, that's so cool. And Rook is honestly so chill. Like I love one of my favorite drummers. Like
every Rook story that has been told on this podcast has been a good one.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked on that.
Yeah. No bad one.
Okay, so we knocked out the. Is there anything else we need to know about this? I Think I'm Okay music video experience.
That's like the main point. It was an all day.
Cool.
I was there from like 8 a.m. till like midnight.
Typical music video stuff. It sounds like though.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay.
Too. So.
Cool. So that wraps up that. And now you have another MGK experience where like this was the first time that you met him officially. And this is during the Hotel Diablo era. Yeah. So first to kind of like set the scene, like where were you at and like how were you able to meet him, if that makes sense?
He announced that he's going to, there's this store on it's like Melrose, Beverly Hills area, the rich area. It's called like RTA, and he did a collab with them, like kind of merch, but also more like clothing line vibe collab. And he was going to be doing a signing, and I was like, oh snap. So I got to the store at like 5:30 in the morning. No one was there. Like no one showed up till like 7 a.m. and it was like pretty packed. It was a sold out like thing. I thought it was a free event. I didn't find out till like an hour or two before it starts. You had to buy a piece from the collab. And I was like, I had a job, but like it wasn't like, I didn't have like a lot. Like I had enough to like kind of live and vibe, but like, not a crazy amount. So like, and it was so expensive. Like the pants that they had, it's like a fire collab, but the pants were like 300, I think, and then the shirt, because they only had shirts and pants, and the shirt was 100. So I ended up buying a shirt.
Right, just be able to get in.
Yeah, you had to, or else they turned you away. So everyone had to buy a piece. So spent $100 on a shirt, and I was like, yikes! And then everyone got back in line, and I was the first one to go in, so I was like freaking out. I was like, and I almost like switched with like my friend, because I was like, I don't know if I can be like the first one to kind of kick this all off. But I went through with it, and I have this pink book that just has signatures in it from like all the shows I've been to.
Yeah.
and I have this book to get signed because I didn't want the shirt signed because there is a space like on the shirts for him to sign. I was like, nah, like I brought like my book, and I was like, yeah, I got here like 6 in the morning, and he was like shocked. He was like, 6 a.m. So you're like the first one here, and I was like, yeah. And then I asked if I could give him a hug, and he was like, yeah, of course, and he like hugged me. And in the book, he wrote, "First one here, you're a beast, lace up." And it was like, I have those photos, but only because they had a professional photographer, because
Yeah.
technically you weren't supposed to take pictures with him,
Mm.
but they had a professional photographer that uploaded it to, I think it's like BFA. They've done like a few other ones of him and other people before. And so I got those photos. And then after that, after like everyone was done, um he drove himself there, and he opened up his car doors and played Hotel Diablo through the car speakers and was just smoking and talking to everyone. I ended up talking to Rook for a bit and taking like a portrait of Rook because I just straight up asked him. I was like, "Can I?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so he like posed for that, and that was like really sick. So I vibed with Rook and got to vibe with him, of him just smoking, playing Hotel Diablo, talking to people, and
Did
like
at this point, did first, so two kind of questions here. Did you, in these conversations the second time, did you like mention being in the I Think I'm Okay music video? Was that before? Was that after? Right? So that, well, if it was after, right?
yeah.
So did you like mention that? Did they remember you?
I honestly didn't mention it because I was like kind of nervous.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like I was like the first one kicking this all off, I was like, ah. So I didn't mention it. And I honestly, to this day, I don't think I've ever directly talked to him about it, which is so funny.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially because like
At some
that
point,
that video is so prominent too.
yeah, at some point I probably should just for like laughs, but I've never like I've never mentioned it. Been like, yeah, I was there. Like, I've never like mentioned that, which is like weird. It just has never come up.
Yeah, that's interesting because like that's such a connecting point too, and obviously, you know, at this point, your relationship kind of with them as a whole has surpassed just like, oh, I see you from time to time.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know when I don't know like when like you'd fit it in, but like earlier on, probably would have been a good thing to just kind of pop in at least for a second.
Yeah, probably. I mean, when the time's right, it'll happen.
That's right, absolutely. So that's awesome. Um, so when you're right, just look with like the message in the book,
Yeah.
is that one of like the cooler signatures that you have in it? Right? Because like he actually like took the time to like write like a personalized message as opposed to like just a signature.
That is one of the cooler signatures, but also I have Johnny Depp's signature in that book, and that,
Yep, that's tough to beat.
yeah. Well, that happened way like years after. That happened like maybe 3 years ago now.
Gotcha.
So, but like there's so many signatures. So I have his signature in there. I think like twice. So his two signatures and Johnny Depp's, I would say, are like the top ones, and Avril Lavigne's because I do have hers in there now.
That's a really solid set of top ones. Well
Yeah,
done.
those are like my things.
That's so cool. All right. Are we good to move on to the next one?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Cool. All right. This one I'm pumped about. You were probably the third person in the world to get the Born with Horns tattoo. And obviously, this tattoo has such a lore behind it. It was the way that he and Travis announced the name of the album. And then we all know what happened with the album name change. But there was something else that was really interesting about the name Born with Horns, is that somebody on this call, her name may start with A, also had a Born with Horns tattoo. And there's a very cool MGK moment here that when she told me, hey, I was this person, I think my jaw actually dropped because I'm like, oh, I remember this exactly. So why don't you go ahead and tell that story?
So I found this out yesterday when I saw him that the Born with Horns tattoo on my neck is known as the Born with Horns tattoo.
Fire.
Which I didn't even realize. It's like right here. It's covered by my hoodie. I got it. I was going to get it the day they announced it because I was already at my tattoo guy at the shop getting other tattoos when they had dropped it, and I was like, oh, like, can you fit this in? And he was like, oh, I can't tonight, but like I can do it tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So I ended up getting it tattooed the day after they had like dropped it, and I just went and got it right on my neck. I was like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, put it right there. My guy did amazing by lining it up because all I had was like the blurry photo zoomed in of like Kells' arm.
Yeah.
But he like lined it up perfectly because I wanted it to be like right where like my head turns and everything and kind of like flow with, I don't know, body anatomy.
Oh, that's cool.
And then like I think like only a month or two had passed since I had it, and I'm like waiting in line for like another concert at the Fonda Theater. And 2 hours prior, I was talking to my friend in line about him, being like, yeah, I haven't seen him in a bit. Like, I want to show him this tattoo. Like, I got it right after they did. Like, you know. And then my friend's like, wait, that's him across the street. And I'm like looking across the street and I'm like, no, it's not. They like, him and Travis were walking and they turned the corner and I'm like looking, you know, doing the squinty eyes. And I'm like, oh shit, like, no, that is him. So I like book it across Hollywood Boulevard, which I don't recommend. That is the most unsafest thing you could do. But I thought I was like God at the moment, like booking it across Hollywood Boulevard, and they had like just barely passed me, and I was just like, I like stuttered, and I was like, Colson, and he like did his like tall person thing of like whipping around, and then he like immediately saw it. He was like, oh my God, that's so sick. And he was like hitting Travis, being like, look at that. Like, oh my God, like, that's amazing. Like, geeking out over it with Travis right there. And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to say what's up. And I wanted to show you this.
Did Kells recognize you? Or like remember you? Or like, I don't know. I'm just asking.
At this point, yeah, because I had seen him, like, I think. Like, I did see him a little bit prior to this when Rook did thing at On the Rocks, but I didn't get to talk to him really.
Gotcha.
Eye contact when Rook was performing and kind of like,
yep.
Now, you know?
There we go. Yep.
Like at this point, I had seen him like a couple times prior in general, but I didn't like. I did mention how I saw him at Rook's thing. He was like, yeah, I saw you there. And then he just like straight up went in for a hug and like hugged me. And then Travis gave me like a hug, and then I don't know. I let them go because they were in the middle of chilling, so I let them go. And then I went back to line. And then it's interesting because like I had gone through his tag photos. No one else saw them that day. Like I got like either it was manifestation at its finest or I got lucky because no one else had like it was kind of like my own little moment. Like I called my best friend right away. I was like, dude, you won't believe like what just happened. And she like tweeted about it being like, my friend just called me saying that she saw Kells and Travis and how like sweet and happy they seemed, blah blah blah. And I was like, it was great. It was such a good way to kick off like an already good day. Like it made it like 10 better.
Yeah, for sure. And like when you say like you had like your own little moment, I'm literally thinking of it as like you found the oasis in the middle of the Egyptian desert.
It really was a very private moment, oddly enough, even though it was right on Hollywood Boulevard, because my friend was like recording and taking photos from across the street, and it's like right when he went in to hug me, like a car, like a truck, like went in the way. Like it was so like, so there's no like evidence of like there's like some small clips of him like you can see him talking to me, but like the hug and like the most of the conversation is blocked by cars. So it's like it gives off that really like private moment, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's so cool. And honestly, like that almost adds to the story, right? Like, oh, nobody recorded any of this because a giant semi truck just drove by, right? Like that's awesome. That's so cool. And then this snowballed into something else that's really cool, I think. And that's once Kells changed the name of the album to Mainstream Sellout. If you remember, first, he dropped like the TikTok with Travis where he goes like, listen, I we gotta change our tattoos. I changed the album name, right?
Yeah.
So we all know that. But then almost immediately after, if it was not that night, it was like the next day. Kells did an Instagram live. It was, and he starts talking about changing the album. And in that live, he specifically mentions, and I don't know if you were on the live or if he just like said it in passing, but he goes like, yeah, and like there was like this one girl, like the girl that I like, it was like he literally said like the girl like that I met that has the tattoo, like I'm so sorry that we changed. Like when I changed it, I was thinking of you, and that's you.
Yeah, I was in his Instagram live because I think I was just at home because he did that live, I think, when he was going to be on his way to his like Super Bowl like LV performance.
Mm-hmm.
That it was him and Halsey on the same day at Staples Center. And I was actually going to that.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I was watching his live, like getting ready and stuff, and he mentions that, and I like fall to the floor in my living room, and then he ends the live shortly after that because he was like running late. My friends are blowing up my phone, being like, Abby, did you see?" I was like, "I saw it. Did you see?" Like freaking out. I have people on Instagram and texting me like about it, and I like obviously I wasn't screen recording because I didn't like expect that. So I like go digging through fan pages like as the hours pass and a day after like looking for it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
finally find a fan page that like caught that part and screen recorded from there. So thankfully I have it captured. That was hard. I was like panicking trying to look for it.
Do you still have it?
I do. It's like it's on my videos. Yeah, I
Can
still got
you? Is it on your video? Is it on like your Instagram? Can I rip that for
it.
content
It's not on.
for promo?
It's not on my Instagram. It's on just like on my camera roll, but I can text it to you because it's like a long video.
Awesome.
Because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
through Instagram DM, but I can text it to you.
yeah. Let's do that. That'd be an awesome clip to
Yeah.
have for this
I,
podcast. So thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate that. All right. So you're the infamous, or not the infamous. You are the famous girl with the Born with Horns tattoo that
Yeah.
he was thinking of when he changed the album name.
Yeah.
So awesome. So cool. These stories that you have, Abby, are insane. I love them.
It was insane seeing him after, because I hadn't, when he changed, this is kind of like a side story of when he changed it, I hadn't seen him for like a good minute,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at Jaden Hostler's birthday party.
Shout out Jaden.
Yeah, he's my boy.
He's next. He's
He,
next.
I adore him. Like we have so much love for each other. Like I have nothing but good things to say.
That's
But
awesome.
we were at his party and they performed Wannabe, and like this was like when the party was ending, like people were leaving. There was like obviously like a small VIP area, and my friend was talking to Olivia, which was his assistant at the time, and then I see him, and like security's like, because obviously people were trying to go up to him and Megan, and security's like yelling at people. So security was like yelling at me because I was like, I need to see him. Like, we need to talk about this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And security is like yelling in my face, and I'm just like, Colson, and he sees me. He's like, oh my god, wait, and he like, you know, pulls me through. So security stops like yelling right in my face about it.
Yeah.
He was like, before he could even say anything, I was like, dude, whatever you do, like, don't even trip. Like, there's no hard feelings. Like,
Was he
I,
really going to say something about it?
he was about to. I don't know if he was going to say I'm sorry or what, but I straight up, like, I kind of got the words in first. I was like, do not feel bad. Like, it is. Sorry, I have a cat.
You're
I
good.
was, do not feel bad. Like, we're good. Like, it's not that deep type thing. And I was like, I trust the process. Like, don't even worry. Like, I trust your process. And he was like, I mean, it's still a sick as fuck tattoo. Like, and he was like, thank you. Like, I wanted to tell you. And I was like, you're all good. Like, obviously, never no hard feelings ever. Like, I'm always going to keep showing up. And we just had this like whole moment. And he was like, just talking to me. And then we hugged and like, you know, I let him go and then I like left or waited outside for like my friend and
Dang.
stuff. Like it was so I did get to see him after it was changed. Just took a minute and it was very unexpected. But
Yeah.
I think the reason I wanted to see him so badly is because I wanted to make sure that he didn't feel bad. Like because there was no reason for it. Like I was not offended or bothered. Like when he announced that it was changed, I did have people message me like, "Are you okay? Like how do you feel?" Like, you know, kind of like touching the water type thing. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like literally I was laughing about it. I thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, this is so funny because he literally would do that. He would change the album name. Like, I thought it was hilarious, and I still do. Like, we laugh about it.
I love how you said to him, like, I trust your process.
Yeah.
Like, that is maybe the coolest thing that you could have said to him. That's so hard.
Yeah, the fact, I mean, that he did mention, like, what I said to him on his live, and I was like,
I was going to say, did he mention that at some point again? Because
he,
when you said I told him to trust the process, I'm like, I swear I know that story, and I didn't remember how I knew it.
same Instagram live. It was like shortly before he finished it because he was like, yeah, like she told me to trust the process, and that's all I ask for is from my fans is to trust the process.
So hang on then. So let me get the timeline of things right then. He drops, or let me rephrase that. He announces Born with Horns.
Yeah.
You then immediately get the tattoo Born with Horns. He changes the album title.
Yeah.
You see, so the Jaden party is in between the mainstream sellout, the name change,
Yeah.
and the Instagram live.
Yeah. The Jaden party was like he had announced the name change, but it was before it was like literally 3 days before that Instagram live.
Gotcha. It all clicks now. Now, as you say that, I'm like, okay, I super vividly remember hearing trust the process.
Yeah.
That's so sick. And with that, speaking of mainstream sellout, talk about a hell of a segue here. You were at the Spotify album release party for
Yes.
mainstream sellout. Not only that, you were also photographing it, correct?
Yes, I was.
And I'm so fucking jealous. I think that is probably one of if I had to rank Kells concerts that I wish I was at, I think that one probably lands in my top 3. That looked like it was so much fun.
It was so good. It was an open bar and like little like snacks, like all for free. That's always a plus to anything. You got to make your own like either t-shirt, crop sweater or something like for free. They had a thing where you literally dip. I don't know why, but I don't fully remember if it was like real tomatoes or like just balls and like pink paint and like you're supposed to let your anger out and it's literally like the album cover of him and you throw it at him. And they had like a photo booth where you could take photos and make TikToks, like a whole little area for that. They had a undone area where you could get like your nails done with like a little bit of nail art and just like all these little activities.
And then the concert itself.
Yeah, it's funny because the concert, like the area where the show was taking place, they had it gated off until a certain time, like for like
awesome.
like 2 hours. So me and my friends like waited by the gate and took shifts doing everything so we could like run in right when they open it.
So if that's the case, then were you like an unofficial photographer for the night, or did you have a pass? Like, how did that work?
It was unofficial because it took place on some building's rooftop.
Gotcha.
So
All right,
it
cool.
wasn't an actual venue. So because of that, it's like it's a public space, so they can't really like say much of anything.
I gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if it was if it was set up in like a traditional like concert setup where you had stage, kind of like mini walkway barricade for like photographers or security, and then the crowd. So I wasn't sure what that situation was like.
space for like camera people
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, but like it didn't make much of a difference. Like we were almost right against the stage.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, I have your pictures pulled up right here, and I remember these kind of going around, and they went viral pretty quickly.
yeah.
I mean, I love these shots. This was so cool.
It's so funny. I still have like one or two more sets from that night to post, but I've been really bad at posting just because I've been so busy at shows
Mm-hmm.
that like, just the editing and then posting, I just like have not done it.
Seems like a good problem to have, though. I'd imagine.
Yeah, like I don't mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been busy, just having more experiences, really. So
Mm-hmm.
can't really complain.
What was the vibe of that show?
It
Just
was so,
kind of as like a whole.
as a whole, like special and amazing, obviously, because it was like the first time like these songs were even played. But then also like super chill. Like Landon and Jaden were there just chilling. So I got to chill with them for a bit. Like everyone was just vibing, talking, and socializing. It was a very social event. Cause the vibe, cause like it's really, it was like all these fans, and I would say like in for the most part they were pretty like hardcore, cause it
Mm-hmm.
was like really interesting how you had to get access to it. Like it was through this like app slash website called Dice, and like it was really, it was kind of weird. Not even gonna lie. And I found out about it because some paparazzi sent it to me and my friends. Like, hey, he's doing this thing. Like, I know you guys like him. Like, go. Because we had seen him at Kimmel another time a few
Mm-hmm.
days before he announced. And so that's how we got like his contact. And he's DM'd it to us at like 3 in the morning. So it was just like a weird process of how it honestly came about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it was a good vibe. It was like one of the most chillest, like, good vibes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
very like everyone knew how to like act right, and everyone was there for like the same thing.
The right reason, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And you bring up Undone, right? Undone had a little station set up there, and that was actually one of the things that went viral as well. I think there was a TikTok of Kells getting his nails done at the station before the show. So that clip went viral. But you also mentioned very, very briefly and subtly throughout our little conversation through Instagram is that you were part of an Undone campaign.
Yeah.
So come on, tell the story here. Also, happy birthday, Undone, 1 year old. Go ahead.
He had the pop up here in LA, and like me and my friends went to the grand opening and stopped by a few times in between. But then they announced that they were looking people for an upcoming campaign. So me and my friends are like, "Oh my god, we gotta go!" Ended up being the most chill thing, and like my friend got there so early in the morning because she thought like a lot of people would show up.
Mm-hmm.
There were so little people that showed up that like the person who was like doing the like semi interviews and stuff was like, yeah, we're probably honestly going to use everyone. And I was like, dang. So my friend didn't have to get up so early. Felt so bad that like I made her get out of bed and wait there in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really cool because when we went in, I had like did my nails at home, like ready, dressed up. The um the lady like doing the little interviews, she had recognized me from the grand opening, and she was like, "You were at the grand opening." And I was like, "Yeah, I was." And we like got to talking. She explained the whole thing, how it's for like a possible like holiday campaign, and just took pictures of my nails and took pictures of us. We didn't hear back from it for like months. Like my friend had sent like an email asking like that, we had heard nothing. Like me,
Mm-hmm.
I like forgot about it for like a hot minute and just assumed like it was a lost cause because like we got no update if the campaign was even happening or anything. um like there was just no word. It was like so MIA, so we were like, okay. I mean, it was cool, but okay. We get an email being like kind of showing us like what they wanted from us and that about the campaign and everything like that. So we email back with our addresses and all that. don't get anything, like any boxes or nothing for like weeks and weeks. So we're all just like, okay. My friend sends a follow-up email, don't hear anything. And then we just randomly get the boxes. I actually still need to send in my photos for it because I just recently like got the stuff I needed to do the look I wanted and everything. Gotta actually turn those in, but yeah, we just have to send in photos. Don't know if they'll use them. It was just like a free thing, but honestly, like getting a PR box and everything is still like really cool.
Pretty cool, right? Yeah, that's just like a cool like memento to just kind of have, right?
Yeah, because I've never done like any like sponsorships or anything as much as I'd love to. So this was like the first like semi PR sponsorship.
Let's talk after this.
Yeah, semi like sponsorship thing. So I was like sick, and like it was I thought we did think it was going to be like an unreleased thing, but it is like a set slash polishes that were ended up that are released already. So like that's why I'm talking about it. I am not blowing any secrets I shouldn't, because it came with like
No NDAs were signed.
yeah, that too. No NDAs were signed.
There we go.
But if it was unreleased, I probably still would have kept it more secret out of respect.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's still another really cool story in the pantheon of Abbey / MGK collisions, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. So I'm still just going through our notes here. There's more that we need to like cover and that I want to ask you about. So I'm going to ask you some more just kind of like direct questions, and then we'll wrap it up with my favorite segment to do with every guest. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that works.
All right, cool. So you saw him at Avril's star ceremony, which is awesome. And specifically, you said you had an amazing conversation with him.
Yeah.
Is there anything you kind of like share from that conversation, or like what was like going on? Just kind of like, what's that story?
Well, I had gotten to like the Hollywood area like at 6 a.m. for it. Like I was going because it's Avril's star ceremony, and she's like my ride or die artist. So I was like, I need to go. Like I had bought flowers for her and everything. Cut a long story short, the way they had it set up for the ceremony is like as an audience we would have been across the street, and we were just like, I was like freaking out. I was like, I did not get here early just to be across the street. Like, what? So we end up like, it was right in front of these like apartments, right on Hollywood and Vine. And like, there's like hella like underground parking. And so we would end up waiting like near the entrance to like the apartments slash parking garage area. And we end up it was like me and like 4 of my friends, and then there was some pops and graphers, but they actually for once were not causing an issue. So we were like just kind of waiting there, watching it live streamed, like waiting for it to end, and then we can hear it like finishing up because we were keeping up with it. And Kells was the first one to start walking our direction, and on top of getting flowers for Avril, I had made like a keychain for him. Because like it was announced that he was going to be a special guest speaker, because
That he was going to be presenting, right?
So I had made a keychain for him as well, and he was like kind of like walking, like going towards like wherever they were going to pull up the car, and I was like, Colson, I have something for you. And he like walks over, and I like hand it to him. There's a video of it too, because my friend was recording actually. I hand him the keychain, and he spends like 5 minutes struggling to like put it on his belt loop, because he had like the thick belt loops, and he was like holding his coffee in one hand trying to put it on, and he was like, oh, I have the thick belt loops. And I was like, hey, it makes for like really good accessories though, and belts. And he was like, that's true, and he's like, I'm going to get it on. So he like puts his coffee down and like clips it on, and I ended up telling him like, I'm so proud of you, like you did really good, like you spoke really well. And he was like, did I? Like I was so shaken up. Like, this was so hard for me. I feel like I need to start writing out like my stuff. And it's like, I tell him, I was like, dude, Avril's like my ride or die artist. I love her. And he was like, yeah, me too, me too. And I was like, as someone who's such a diehard Avril fan, I can tell you, you spoke so good. Like, I wouldn't change a thing about what you said. It was like honest and raw. And he was like, thank you. Like, that really means a lot. And I really appreciate it. And then, like, you know, he says hi to my other friends, signs stuff for like, after he's like done talking to me and like my friends, he signs stuff for graphers. And then he circles back to us, and I showed him his Hotel Diablo, like the RTA signature he put with the whole first one here, lace up. I was like,
oh, you had the book. You had the book with
yeah,
you.
yeah, I did, because I had it because of Avril, but I don't know what it was in me. Something like made me, I was like, I don't know if you remember this, but like you wrote this in here like at the RTA event. And he was like, it was so funny. He was like confused at first, and he was like, wait, why did I put first one here if you have other people's signatures in there? And I was like, because I was the first one in line. I had like camped out for it. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah. And then for some random reason, I ended up telling him I had Johnny Depp's signature in there. I don't know why. My brain just word vomited and was like, yeah, say that. And then when I did, he was like, oh my God, like, that's like so sick. And he like actually looked through the book, and he was like, honestly, I need to do this with my stuff. My stuff's all just like laid out everywhere. This is like so smart. Because I told him how it was like a book of like my signatures through like the years from shows. And he thought it was like cool as fuck. So we like geeked out over Johnny Depp and like this artifact of mine, which was like really interesting. Because that's just like something you talk about with like anyone. But it was a conversation me and him were having.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I feel like that he has like a very like natural, and it's because I was gonna say, I was gonna call it forgetful, but like it's not. It's like it takes him a moment for situations like that. Cause I've seen it before where like people will like go up to him with like, hey, like you signed this 5 years ago. And he'll think about it for a second, and then he finds it in his head, and you can see the light bulb go off. He's like, "Oh, like I remember, like yeah, I remember you, or I remember like where we were when this happened." And so it sounds like you had a very similar experience to some of the other ones that I've seen in that situation.
Yeah. It was funny seeing him get kind of confused over it though, because he was like, why did I put that? Like he did not understand why he put that. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It was like, oh. And it was so funny. Like it
Oh,
was
nice.
just like something like chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's so cool. And then lastly, we can kind of wrap it up here, and then we'll get into the last segment. You've been around a while and have built some pretty cool connections with Kells, his team, Rook. We went through a few different stories. Slim, Bays, Olivia. Is there like one other little moment with the band specifically that kind of sticks out to you?
Oof. I mean, I have vibed with them at Rook's performances, especially at like On the Rocks. And that, when you're vibing with them at On the Rocks, that is a whole different vibe altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
Why is
something
that?
that's something you just kind of have to experience on your own. Like, I can't even put it into words. Like, it's not bad. It's just that's its own experience. Like, because like I pull up to a lot of Rook's solo stuff because I don't know if you've seen, like, he'll do stuff at like Nightingale.
Yep.
He's
All
Whiskey. He
all
did
the
Rock.
time now. Right.
Yeah,
Yep. He's typically in LA, or he'll be in Vegas. One
Vegas.
of the two. That's where he does a lot of stuff at.
I'm pulling up to most of his stuff in LA with like my homies. And so normally Slim and Bays are there, and like it's all just like a chill hangout
Mm-hmm.
of that vibing, because like they're so familiar with like me and like my two friends that it's like familiar faces type thing. So there's always
Yeah.
a up, and just everyone's just like chatting shit, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it's cool too, right? Because you know everyone knows MGK and Kells, but you it's when it comes to Rook or Slim or Baze or Justin or Sophie's kind of exploding right now, so she's slowly entering another stratosphere. But when it comes to those other guys, it's kind of like if you know, and if you don't, you don't. And so that creates a really cool opportunity for you, right, to kind of build up like that rapport and those kind of relationships because you are that familiar face to them.
Definitely. And Justin, like, I feel like people are like so unsure, but he's so chill. Like Sophie, obviously she's come kind of later on, and I haven't really seen her around or interacted with her because also I don't think she lives in LA either. So like that's kind of eventually that will happen too. I know for a fact. She's the crew. Like, of course she's included. Just I personally haven't yet. But yeah, Justin, my heart goes out to Olivia. She is the sweetest. Like, have nothing but love for her. She has treated me and my friend like we are like friends of hers. Like, she is such a sweetheart. Like, literally straight up shout out to her. Sweetest soul on the planet. Like, ever.
I've also only heard good things on this podcast about Olivia.
I don't know anyone that would hate her. Like, she is the most welcoming. She'll make you feel so comfortable, and she loves talking and interacting with people. Like, and I feel like I know, like, that she's not currently around as often, but I feel like she's so understanding of Kells as a person and his character. And I just think she's definitely a good soul that he has around.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the reason that, this is what I've heard, the reason that she's not really around Kells anymore is because she's actually Megan's assistant now.
That I don't know, and I haven't heard that until right now. Okay. I don't think so because I've seen Kells with Megan like both of them together a good few times, and Olivia's like still not really around. Like, interesting. I do know Kells has a new assistant, and Olivia is still with him doing other stuff.
Gotcha.
Still in the picture, but I'm trying to like describe this without disclosing too much.
No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it. We don't need you getting pressed or anything. We're solid. Yeah. Let's just go into our last segment here. We'll wrap it up with this, put a nice bow in this conversation. This has been so much fun. I know you said before we started you were a bit nervous. Hope that's gone away. So let's wrap it up here. The way that we close out this show is 5 rapid fire MGK questions. Pretty much yes, no, one or the other, but it's a lot of fun. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Cool. Let's go with your favorite MGK album.
EPs. Honestly, I have to go with one of his EPs, either Black Flag or like Lace Up.
Wow. Okay, we're going back to the deep cuts there. All right. Next question. What if we did Pink Guitar from Tickets to My Downfall or Black Guitar from Mainstream Sellout?
I like the matte black, because I know he has released a signature series of that, and I think it looks really nice.
I want both guitars so badly, but that one specifically is so badass. Love that one. Let's go with another question here. If you could see Kells perform in any venue, which one would it be?
Oh, off the bat, either the Viper Room or the Roxy.
And there we go. Good. What were you to say?
Oh, just like I've thought about it like a bunch of times because I want him to do like a random small show at either the Viper Room or the Roxy.
Cool. Let's go with another. Let's do a divisive one here. Rap or pop punk?
Oof. I feel like I want to just say neutral because it's like I think for me at least it's like mood, because like his rap stuff, it makes you get like this energy in you and this like I am God vibe. And then pop punk stuff, obviously outside of the more mellow and acoustic stuff, it's just like it kind of gives a throwback sense because like Black Flag, he has Swing Life Away, which is like with Kellen Quinn, and that's like a more like alternative song. So like it does give off like kind of throwback vibes in a sense. So I don't know. I'm kind of like mood wise depends, but I guess you gotta love the rap stuff, you know?
Always.
So,
And then last question for you. If MGK could collab with any artist, who would you want him to collab with?
this is hard because he's actually collabed with the artist I've wanted him to already. But if I had to throw another one in
Then,
there,
then let's do this. Let's do this then. What's your favorite MGK collab?
Avril Lavigne. That's my girl, and then that's my boy collabing, like right off the bat.
Boys lie, baby. Boys lie. All right, let's wrap this up here. We've been going for a smooth hour. Abbey, thank you so much. I hope you had as much fun as I did on this.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This was super cool. I've never done anything like this, so I appreciate the opportunity.
We will have you back for sure. Keep some tabs on some new Kells stories, and we'll get you back on here soon.
For sure.
Be sure to follow Abbey. I'll put the link to her Instagram down below. We'll put some pressure on her to start posting again. Does that sound good? Right? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm trying to maintain it for sure.
Good. Awesome. And thank you all so much for listening or watching, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast. Regardless, I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to, you can use promo code SELLOUTS at checkout at pinkfucks.com to receive 10% off of your purchase. Again, I appreciate you giving me your attention. It's your most valuable resource, and I greatly appreciate it. See you the next episode. We're out.